Archaeologists discovered something terrible in a tomb that made scientists rewrite our history. Two scientists tasted a drink that is thousands of years old. The mystery of Tutankhamun from Kazakhstan that changed the history of this country. How did an astronaut end up on a medieval fresco? Watch this video to learn about these discoveries and more. Hi friend, you are on the CureTop channel. Golden tongues and images of the gods. Archaeologists from Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities have uncovered an astonishing collection of artifacts during excavations at Tel el-Deir. The site has enriched Egypt's history with 63 mud brick tombs and other simple burials. The team uncovered a variety of artifacts, including gold foil pieces depicting gods such as Isis, Bastet, and Horus, as well as protective symbols and languages that allowed the deceased to speak before the court of Osiris in the afterlife. These foil fragments stand out for their craftsmanship and the variety of materials used. Numerous funerary offerings were also found, including amulets, Ushabti statues, figurines, coins, and a mirror, illustrating the burial customs of the 26th dynasty. Among the finds was a ceramic vessel containing 38 bronze coins from the Ptolemaic era depicting the head of Zeus Ammon. These coins, dated to the late 3rd century BC, may have been buried during a major revolt against the Ptolemaic dynasty around 206 BC. The oldest alphabet has been deciphered. Since 1964, archaeologists have discovered 15 tablets with mysterious carvings at an ancient settlement site in Jordan. Recent analysis has shown that the tablets were likely created by the Canaanites, an ancient Semitic people who lived in what is now Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, and parts of Jordan and Syria. Research has revealed that the tablets contain 29 unique symbols written from left to right. These symbols include dots, vertical stripes, and abstract designs. Scientists believe that the inscriptions are cult proverbs associated with a religious temple. Some signs, such as a symbol resembling an eye, have been identified as ayin, which means eye in Hebrew. These parallels have helped begin the decipherment. The Canaanites inhabited Canaan from 3500 to 1200 BC until they were conquered by the Israelite tribes. They are mentioned in the Old Testament. Interestingly, the Canaanite alphabet became the basis for the Phoenician script, which in turn influenced the Greek and Latin alphabets. Fabric dyed with insects. Scientists have examined fragments of dyed fabric found in the Israeli Skulls Cave. These pieces of textiles date back to the Middle Bronze Age. The scientists' research has shown that the dye for the fabric was made from dried insects, Mediterranean kermes. Even in ancient times, people learned to make paints from living creatures. In the Mediterranean, the most expensive dye was purple, obtained from the secretion of the glands of sea mollusks. Another valuable red dye was made from dried female scale insects, such as the Mediterranean kermes, which live on oak trees. Written evidence of the use of such dyes is found in cuneiform texts from the Nutsi archive and the Old Testament. Archaeologists have also found kermes in Neolithic vessels in France, although they were most likely used for magical or medicinal purposes. The earliest fragments of textiles dyed with kermes come from ancient salt mines in Austria from 1400–400 BC. Kermes was also used to dye the legendary Pazyryk carpet in Altai. Beer Quarry Cave. This Roman quarry was once a refuge for smugglers and is now home to rare species of bat. The beer stone quarried here was an important building material in Roman times. 2,000 years of quarrying has created a winding system of caves near the village of Beer, which gives the stone its name. The first Romans to arrive in Devon noticed the limestone cliffs at the mouth of the River Exe. They discovered veins of fine-grained limestone and began quarrying it. When the surface supply was exhausted, the Romans dug deeper into the cliffs, quarrying the stone with picks and wooden wedges. The stone was used to build important public buildings. The stone was transported to the river and shipped out by boat. After the Romans left, the quarries were used by the Saxons. Their quarries had sharp, square corners, as opposed to the rounded Roman ones. Beer stone was easy to work but hardened in the air, becoming stronger. It was cut on site and used to build buildings such as Windsor Castle, London Bridge, and Westminster Abbey. The stone was also used in the construction of Christ Church Cathedral in St. Louis, USA. After the Protestant Reformation, Catholics held secret masses in these caves. In the early 19th century, smugglers, including Jack Rattenbury, used the caves to hide contraband from ships. Mining ceased in the early 20th century when a new site was discovered. These caves are now of particular scientific interest due to the rare bats that inhabit them. The painful death of the Screaming Woman. In 1935, a mysterious mummy was found near Luxor, Egypt, dubbed the Screaming Woman because of her horrific open-mouthed expression. Scientists believe that the woman may have died from extreme pain leading to cadaveric spasm, which fixed her face in a scream. The mummy was discovered by an archaeological expedition from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City in the tomb of Sinmut, the chief architect of Queen Hatshepsut. The tomb also contained a burial chamber for his mother and other relatives. Despite the rich burial, the identity of the Screaming Woman and the reason for her facial expressions remained a mystery for almost a century. Archaeologists conducted a detailed study of the mummy using CT scanning and infrared photography. A virtual autopsy revealed that the woman was about 48 years old, stood about 150 centimeters tall, and suffered from mild arthritis. Remarkably, her internal organs, such as her brain, heart, and lungs, were intact, which was not consistent with the usual mummification practices of the New Kingdom. Her burial included a black wig made of date palm fibers treated with minerals and 2 rings with jasper scarabs, indicating her high social status. Dr. Salem suggested that her facial expression may have been the result of cadaveric spasm, a rare condition in which muscles used heavily before death freeze, indicating possible suffering or extreme stress. The embalmers mummified her body before it began to decompose or relax, keeping her mouth open. The Chinese have tried an ancient drink. A tightly sealed bronze vessel was found in an ancient tomb in the Chinese province of Shanxi. Researchers found about 300 milliliters of liquid in it, which is the remains of a fermented alcoholic drink that is about 2,300 years old. 2 people who tried this liquid noted its metallic taste. People learned to make fermented drinks in ancient times. The earliest evidence of this was found in the Raqefet cave in Israel, where beer was made from cereals about 13,000 years ago. In the Neolithic era, alcoholic drinks began to be produced in the Middle East and China using millet and rice. In a bronze vessel 30.4 centimeters high and 21.6 centimeters in diameter, they found 300 milliliters of clear liquid, or rather a fermented alcoholic drink that was used as a funeral offering. The researchers found 4 types of starch granules in the liquid: millet, foxtail millet, Job's tears, legumes, wheat, barley, and rice. They also identified organisms involved in fermentation, including Aspergillus molds and baker's yeast. The scientists believe the drink resembled modern yellow wine, Huangjiu. Ancient Roman sarcophagus instead of a table. A tourist accidentally found an ancient Roman sarcophagus on a beach in Bulgaria dating back to the 2nd or 3rd century AD. The find was discovered on the beach near the resort of Saints Constantine and Helena, 8 kilometers from Varna. The sarcophagus is decorated with reliefs with garlands and animal heads, typical of the Roman era. The Varna Archaeological Museum and the Ministry of Culture immediately began studying the find. Preliminary data indicate that the sarcophagus was used as a table in recent times. The modern marble lid and traces of facade paint confirm this. The sarcophagus, measuring 90 x 235 by 75 centimeters, was found near a closed complex. It is currently being cleaned of paint to reveal the original paintwork and techniques used in its creation. Restorer Milan Marinov from the Varna Historical Museum hopes to confirm the authenticity of the artifact. A detailed analysis will help determine whether this is a real Roman relic or a modern imitation. Tutankhamun of Kazakhstan. In 1969, a burial site of a man in golden armor was found in Kazakhstan, which became a symbol of the country. Scientists, carried away by 4,000 artifacts, forgot about the remains themselves. The golden armor of a warrior from the 5th century BC, known as the Golden Man, became a symbol of Kazakhstan's independence. It was found in a tomb of the Saka tribe near the settlement of Issyk, 60 kilometers east of Almaty. During excavations, archaeologists discovered remains with gold-decorated armor and many other valuable artifacts. The burial, found by a farmer preparing the land for sowing, remained untouched despite the looting of the main tomb. In a sarcophagus made of spruce logs lay a skeleton decorated with 4,000 gold ornaments. This discovery amazed scientists so much that the human remains initially received less attention. The Golden Man, dubbed the Kazakhstan Tutankhamun, is thought to be an 18-year-old Saka warrior wearing a costume made up of thousands of gold ornaments, including a shirt, boots, and headdress. The costume features animal motifs and a 70 centimeter tall headdress with arrows, snow leopards, and mythical creatures. Archaeologist Janine Davis Kimball has suggested that the remains may be those of a female priestess, citing artifacts found nearby such as a mirror and necklace. In her book, Warrior Women, she theorizes that the Golden Man may have been a woman. The poor condition of the bones after 50 years of exposure to bacteria and viruses makes analysis difficult, but the possibility that the Golden Man was a woman remains open. Regardless of gender, the craftsmanship of the costume is astounding. Diver finds rarest treasure. Back in 1715, 11 ships left the port of Cuba and headed for Europe with treasures. However, a hurricane off the east coast of Florida sank the ships and 1,500 sailors died. Gitschlag, his business partner Mike Penninger, as well as Nick Emilio and Corinna Leah, discovered more than 200 silver coins on the seabed. The value of the find, depending on the condition of the coins, can range from $12,000 to $130,000. When exploring sunken ships, the team often finds ceramic and metal fragments, but coins are a rarity. Silver coins can become corroded after hundreds of years in the water, but piastres are easy to recognize. The treasure was found among the wreckage of one of the two flagships. Gitschlag believes that the coins could have been minted in Mexico City. The treasure has not yet been assessed, but the main part will go to museums and only a small part will be put up for sale. Medieval astronaut. In 1993, European and American magazines published sensational news. An image of an astronaut was discovered among the stone carvings of the Salamanca Cathedral, Spain. Construction of the cathedral began in 1513 and was completed in 1733. Journalists and readers actively discussed how people in the 18th century could have learned about the existence of spacesuits. A variety of theories were proposed, from the artist's foresight to a visit from aliens. However, enthusiasts were in for a surprise. The astronaut figure turned out to be an ordinary prank. There is a tradition among European stone carvers to add new details during the restoration of buildings. In 1992, during the restoration of the cathedral, a stone carver named Geronimo Garcia, with the unofficial permission of the church leadership, added several new figures to the facade, including an astronaut. This tradition revives historical buildings and adds a modern touch to them. The Salamanca case reminds us that past and present can be surprisingly intertwined, and restorers often leave their mark on future generations. A 4,000-year-old parcel. The National Museum of Ireland has received unique artifacts from the Bronze Age. An anonymous sender sent 2 axes by post which are over 4,000 years old. Experts noted that the axes were carefully packed in a box with foam padding. The sender also enclosed a letter stating that the axes were found using a metal detector in the Westmeath area. The museum has asked the sender to provide more information about the find, especially the exact location of the find, in order to understand the historical context. The axes date back to 2150–2000 BC, which coincides with the beginning of the Bronze Age. They may be among the first metal axes in Ireland made from copper, possibly mined on Ross Island. The object itself is valuable, but the context is also important. Artifacts were often buried in places associated with rituals. The museum hopes that the sender will contact us to provide more information. Land of Princes. Archaeologists from the University of Bologna have discovered a new and astonishing tomb in the necropolis of Corinaldo, Ancona province, Italy. The excavations by the archaeologists revealed a rectangular tomb in the center of a large circular pit. The tomb, measuring 3.8 by 2.2 meters, contained more than 150 decorated artifacts, including a 2-wheeled chariot, a bronze helmet, cauldrons, and beautifully decorated vessels. These objects indicate the presence of a funeral feast, indicating the high status of the deceased. The burial dates back to the 7th century BC and is associated with the Picenes, an ancient Italic people who lived along the Adriatic coast from the 9th to the 3rd century BC. The Picenes were known for their trade relations with neighboring cultures, including the Etruscans, as confirmed by the Etruscan artifacts found. Recent finds include a large circular ditch 30 meters in diameter with a rectangular tomb. Artifacts include spits, an iron meat axe, and various ceramic serving pieces indicating a funeral feast. This underlines the high social status of the deceased. Coronado Mayor Gianni Aloisi said the city can now be called the Land of Princes, confirming the historical and cultural value of the archaeological area of Nevala. Ancient plant remains. Guard archaeology has uncovered a Bronze Age hoard in Rosemarkie, Scotland. Dating to around 1000 BC, the hoard was discovered in a prehistoric settlement with 6 round houses and a bronze tomb. A wooden palisade fence that protected the settlement was also found at the site. Laboratory tests have shown that the hoard consists of 6 penannular bracelets, 1 cupped bracelet, 1 full neck ring, 1 partial neck ring, and interwoven plant fibers. Remarkably, the plant cords that bound the bracelets together were preserved by the antimicrobial properties of the copper and the bronze. The cords have remained intact for around 3,000 years. A monumental structure from biblical stories. Archaeologists have discovered an ancient moat in Jerusalem mentioned in the Bible. The structure, located in the city of David, is over 3,000 years old. Scientists have long been looking for evidence of the division of the city into 2 parts, as described in the Holy Scriptures, and have now found a moat that separated the Temple Mount from residential areas. The moat is about 9 meters deep and 30 meters wide. Experts believe that the moat was created in the Iron Age, which corresponds to the times described in the Book of Kings and the Book of Samuel. In the first Book of Kings, 11:27, it is said that Solomon fortified Millo and sealed the breach in the wall of the city of David. King David founded the city to unite Israel around one capital. Historians believe that the moat was used during the era when Jerusalem was the capital of the Kingdom of Judah, beginning with the reign of King Josiah. The ditch separated the southern residential areas from the upper city in the north, where the palace and temple were located. It served both a defensive and dividing function, emphasizing the power of the ruler of Jerusalem and his ability to protect the city. These discoveries confirm the biblical texts. I am glad that you watched this video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.